It's another Manly Monday, and this Manly Monday, I'm going to talk about don't be that guy that ruins things for other guys. And there's two main ways I see that guys do this. One is directly ruining other guys' good time. And the other is making other guys look bad. You know, there needs to be this understanding that you acting like a shithead is creating like bad vibes for other guys. And I wish it was more socially acceptable to tell that person off for making guys look bad, right? So let's get into those two things. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK, or buy a one-time Leanna Cares session for someone who can use it but can't afford it, coffee.com/LeannaK. If you want to sign up for a Leanna Cares session yourself, there is a link in the description box below to the intake form. Fill it out. We will be in touch. Okay, so let's talk about the ruining guys' good time directly. Because I've been watching this, right? Because there's this performative negativity that goes around in predominantly male spaces where this one guy will be like, you know, the drunk uncle, just rah, 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 everything is bad, rah, rah. And everybody just sort of like privately goes, yeah, what's with that guy? But no one goes, hey, shut the fuck up. And there's a reason for this. Guys tend to socialize more than women do. Women will just get together and meet for coffee talk, right? Sometimes guys will go for beers, but a lot of the times guys, you know, socialize surrounding a common activity. Lately, it's been NCAA basketball for me. March Madness, baby. Final Four, yeah. And I paid attention to this because I read a thing about men doing emotional processing through kind of redirecting energy. And I realized that sitting there watching basketball, eating nachos, it's sort of like, yeah, I am sort of processing the stress by going, oh, come on, rep. Yeah, good play. You know, like it's just sort of, I don't know. It's just brain chemicals. It works. It works for me. I tested it. Science. Yeah. Anecdotal evidence, right? But if there was somebody there going, oh, I hate basketball. Why am I here? Why are we doing this? This is corporate. All that stuff. It would be more of a downer. Now, would I say something? Me being me, probably. But I've noticed in groups of people that I don't really know well, that a guy will go on about that stuff and I'll ask later, like, what was that? Oh yeah, we just ignore him. But they're not actually ignoring him. They are absorbing that bullshit. And I notice that everybody else talks less because this guy's eating up all the oxygen. But no one wants to tell this guy to shut his fucking pie hole. Because you don't want to ruin other people's good time. And so everybody is just sort of, right? And that reduces the stress relief benefit of the common activity. And that's not cool. This isn't helping men. This is something we can like be more aware of in our own dynamics. Of I will be the one to go, you know, if you're gonna come here and you're gonna complain, don't come. You know, just don't. This is a place where everybody's here to have a good time. Just don't. I will be that asshole because holy shit, I don't want my good time ruined by somebody that pisses in the punch bowl with this performative negativity because they think it makes them seem tough and smart. And the same goes with video games. Holy shit. I don't understand this thing of people showing up. Well, people are talking about a game or people are playing a game And I'm playing Assassin's Creed Shadows on Twitch right now, and I am having fun. And yes, whenever I play a AAA game, I'm having fun in spite of the stuff about AAA gaming I don't like. But, you can't just live on indie gaming alone. And part of the reason I play those games on Twitch is so that people can get a more objective opinion, because I am honest even when it costs me. And so instead of it being just, the negative YouTube videos and all that stuff, it's here's me in real time discovering the game. This is my honest opinion about it. And people come and they shit it up. And they seem really surprised when I push back. And it's interesting because I'll do this thing. Okay, name one thing. Name one concrete example of the complaint you have against Ubisoft or EA or whoever. And it's amazing how many people can't name it. Now, with Assassin's Creed Shadows, I've since found that there is just this coordinated don't buy AAA games. Don't buy, if we destroy Ubisoft, then booby girls will come back shit. No. No, they won't. If you like that sort of content, support that content. It's not going to come back because you shit in someone else's backyard. That's just not how the market works. But it was amazing how ill-informed these guys go, I don't trust, I don't like. It's like, okay, so you don't have to play it. I am. Somebody gave me the money for my birthday that I used to buy that game because they said, I don't want you spending this on something practical. I want you to use it to buy something fun. And so I did it. And that's kind of hard for me. And people come and shit it up. And they're so used to doing it, which is why I started watching it more. And I do think that part of it is nobody tells them to knock it the fuck off with reasons. And there's one guy, I feel kind of bad for this guy because he's normally a cool dude, but he was doing I don't like Ubisoft. It is like the way they treat their staff. It's like, okay, name one way that Ubisoft mistreats their staff. Give me an example of what you're talking about that, specific, so we can talk about that instead of you just going, the anti-woke seal bargaining. And he goes, I'm tired. And I said, okay, you're tired? You're tired. Imagine how I feel. I've worked all day. I'm here now. I'm trying to have fun. And you're sitting there constantly talking about how what I'm doing is shit. How tiring do you think that is for me to be trying to have a good time here and you doing this? The guy responded, so how are the cats? You asshole! And I don't even think the guy realized that's asshole behavior because it is common. Because there's this flow chart with guys, right? It's never admit you're wrong, but sometimes you do have to sort of knock it off because the person has a point, but you can't admit the person has a point because you can't admit you're wrong. And so I'm tired. And the weird thing is, the reason the I'm tired hit a button for me is because that is the behavior in women I can't stand to avoid being accountable. I'm so tired. It's so hard. No. I'm tired. I'm still responsible for my behavior. And that's the other thing that every so-called minority group is aware that your behavior reflects upon your whole group. There's a term among Jewish people, shunda for the goyim, and it's sort of become a joke. Don't make us look bad to the people that don't understand our ways. And I have a lot of those because it's the whole ginger thing. And every time, there's there's a lot of like bottle redhead villains on network TV. I've almost stopped watching all of it. Like, The Rookie had a stereotypical mwahaha evil bottle redhead, and that actress actually died. And the next story was another evil danger hair woman. And it's like, holy shit, can we get another hair color, please? And so, there is this thing of, oh, you're angry, or oh, they're sluts, or oh, they're hypersexualized. And everything you do being aware that you're going to be judged against those stereotypes. And I find it interesting that a lot of guys, we were talking about this on the Discord. And, oh, by the way, Discord links go out this week. So if you want to like join Patreon, now's the time to do it, or coffee. I'll remember to put the coffee link. I forget that a lot. But guys have to start thinking this way too. Because it used to be that, WSCM, white, straight, cisgender men, were the only ones that sort of were depicted as individuals, and everybody else was lumped into these collective stereotypes. But now that everything has balanced out, guys do have to be aware that the way you're behaving does make it either better or worse for other guys. There is a brotherhood, right? And if you don't care, you don't care. But if you're concerned about this idea that all men are scary or all men are predators, conduct yourself accordingly. Because I'm tired of seeing perfectly good guys painted with the brush of these guys sending nastygrams to people over goddamn video games. And I don't like that everybody's getting painted with the same brush. I said last week, it's not true. The bad apples are being centered. But I think because of that, there has to be more social license for other guys to go, you know what? I don't agree with you. And here's why. You know what? Can you stop that? Because you're making the rest of us look bad. This idea that you don't engage in that sort of healthy conflict. And I do think guys have become increasingly conflict averse because they're afraid of being scary. And you can have healthy conflict without being scary. Maybe I'm not one to talk. People say I'm scary all the time, but I know I don't mean anything. I don't mean anybody any harm. And I do think that there needs to be more pushback because, unfortunately, these guys don't listen to women. They don't. They are so in their cups about masculinity that they're actively wrecking it for other guys. And it is not fair. But because I don't expect guys to give a shit about anyone if they believe the world doesn't give a shit about them. And I do think that feeling that nobody gives a shit is added to by people not saying, do you realize how you're coming across here? Like, to me, it's disrespectful. For me to think someone is carrying on like a raging asshole and I don't say anything. If I say something, okay, they can either take my opinion or dismiss my opinion, but at least someone told them what the issue is. In the case of the Ubisoft guy, I said, look, It's not that Ubisoft hasn't done anything wrong, but name one major AAA publisher that hasn't fucked up huge in some way. And there are critiques that are fair and there are critiques that are just not fair, and facts matter, right? If somebody doesn't give them that check and they just let them carry on making a fool of themselves, because, I know I'll say something to him, 20 people will be saying things about him. And I know that's what a lot of guys live in fear of, is they're not told what they're doing wrong. They're not given a chance to correct their behavior. And then it's just a whisper campaign, right? So it's not respectful for me to not say, no, I think you're wrong here. And quite frankly, I think you're coming across like an asshole here. Now, some guys can take it, some guys can't. And I want to associate with people of all genders who it's a back and forth that way. My friends tell me when they think they think I'm giving too much of myself away or not being careful enough in social situations, that I'm putting myself in a situation where I can be painted as a bad guy again. And I appreciate them telling me that because they're looking out for me, right? And I think that if people have real friends, then that's the way it goes. And I do think that the male loneliness increase is because that doesn't happen. Guys have people they hang out with, maybe, but they don't have anybody that has that degree of closeness that they can say to them, like, look, you're coming at this wrong. And, other people are having less of a good time because you can't stop with the negativity. And, you can do it in a way like, look, is everything okay? Are you doing okay? And if someone goes, yeah, I'm fine. And it's like, okay, I ask because you're complaining about a lot of things. And happy people don't do that, right? There are ways of doing it without it being a blame thing. It can be a concern thing. And a really powerful thing that men can say to each other is, are you okay? And I do think that a lot of these guys losing it over video games are very much not okay. And their trust in other people is so low. And part of it is because they predominantly socialize online. And, it's harder to be able to trust that someone is who they say they are online, especially if it's not, things like this where I show my face, I use my voice, like, who I am. As the people stalking me are very happy to tell me repeatedly, like, it's like, that Dale Gribble in King of the Hill, where he was fake stalking Peggy Hill, like, I know who you are and I know where you live, substitute teacher lady. Like, Dale? Hi, Peggy. Is Hank there? It's that kind of shit. But I do think that it takes some conscious effort to build trust in any relationship, but in an online relationship where people are just names on a screen, that's even harder. And I think a lot of these guys do have issues trusting other people. And that's why they're so worried about the content of video games. And they're not moved by the argument that there is so very much to play out there. There's so much to play so just don't play it if you don't like it. Play other stuff. There's so much stuff coming out of Japan. Like, oh my God, alone. I'm so behind. And I mean, something like Elden Ring or Monster Hunter Wilds or some of the, automation sims, that you can put hundreds of hours into those. There's plenty to play. But it's this idea that they're being forced out. And that's really not about the games. It's about they used to show up places and be tolerated. And they could go, titties, titties, ass, ass, titties, titties, horny on Maine. And no one said to them, like, look, you're overdoing it. You are, making yourself less socially, I don't want to say acceptable, but it's making it harder for people to talk to you about anything else because you are titties, titties, ass, ass, fap, fap, fap. And I saw the forums where people would just spam that shit. I mean, God, fucking 4chan. That's where I originally saw that stuff. Like, most fap, gif, like, shit. The Me Gusta guy. And that just sort of desocialized people. And now they don't know how to come back. And making space for other people is a muscle. If you consider it like it's a skill, that the more you do it, the stronger it gets. And forming communities just based on the stuff you hate is not going to do anything about your loneliness. It's not. It's gonna make it worse. Because I think we've seen enough shedding of the layers at this point, right? I mean, back in the Gamergate days, oh God, at least like those groups were like, we don't like these people, but we're supporting this project. And the support elements became fewer and fewer and fewer because, okay, yeah, grifters took a lot of their money and some of them jumped over to Comicsgate and then more grifters took their money. So they're less likely to throw money at things right now. I completely understand that. But now it's just like, oh, we hate this. We don't like this. And it's not rational. It's not reasonable. It's not based on actual granular, nuanced arguments that hold up when there's any pushback. It's just repeat these things so you belong. And that does not do anything for loneliness because then people don't really know you. You feel like you belong when you can have a different viewpoint on something. Eileen and I fake fight about shit all the time, usually involving butts. No, I'm kidding. But we joke fight all the time over who has worse taste in fictional men. But it's sort of, and it's not even that. It's just sort of, it's that ribbing that guys say they do and maybe used to do. Like another moderator and I, Cordonis and I have a similar relationship where we have joking things we kind of have in-jokes about, but we've sort of both agreed that the jokes are funny, and it's sort of based on differences that we accept about each other. And if there aren't things that are proscribed, not okay, then you can never trust that the things that are tolerated are actually prescribed, meaning actively okay. There has to be some fail conditions for there to be win conditions that are satisfying. And it has to be fair. And that's why don't be that guy. You do not seem smart if you're just shitting on everything. Everybody is so goddamn sick of every purchase you make is either good or bad. Go watch reruns of The Good Place for that shit and leave the rest of us alone. And it's funny because a lot of this is coming from the anti-woke camp and showing up and morally pontificating about, oh, this is bad corporate practices. Like, I'm sorry, horseshoe effect. That's mirror image woke right there, guys. Like, come on. Just let people have fun, for shit's sake. We used to say, like, chill, be cool. Like, just be cool, man. Like, there are some places, there have to be, like, safe male spaces, or, like, male-centered spaces that aren't dominated by a handful of butt wipes complaining about shit. Because nobody may say something to you, but nobody likes it either. And eventually what happens is people just stop showing up. And I get why guys don't want to get into it. I get it. I get why it's better to walk away. I do it sometimes as well. And the problem is people chase me, and I finally have to go, look, this is what happened. And I get into more conflicts than most people, again, because of that respect thing. Because I assume that a person isn't doing it deliberately. So I'll tell them, this is how it's coming across. This is the effect it's having. And if the first words out of someone's mouth are, I know, which happens more than you think. And it's not even necessarily true. But if somebody is claiming that they're doing it consciously, that's not gonna go well. Because that means you knew you were being an asshole and did it anyway. And as somebody, I'm accidentally an asshole a lot of the time. I have no time for that behavior. Because when people are in communities that I facilitate, we foster a sense of belonging. And that means we reward good behavior. And if there are going to be positive consequences for good behavior, there also have to be somewhat negative consequences for bad behavior. And we start with the smallest possible thing. Hey man, cut it out. You can't say you didn't know. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Think about, would you want to be on the receiving end of people being negative and complaining all the time? Would you constantly want to lecture about the morality of your entertainment purchases? You can't go, oh, corporate practices, and then go, yeah, titties, right? Because the moral element of, it's an amoral thing. It's not immoral. It's not moral. It's amoral. There's no moral charge to it. And that doesn't matter if someone likes, diverse games where everybody looks like they smell like Brewer's yeast, or anime booby girls. It doesn't matter. It is an aesthetic choice. It is a personal preference. There is no fucking morality in that either way. So if you want your anime booby girl games, shut the fuck up about DEI. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. Or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who uses but can't afford it. Coffee.com/LeannaK. If you want to sign up for a Leanna Care session yourself, the link is in the description box below. Thanks for watching Manly Mondays.